Hi everyone, welcome to my 28-week pregnancy vlog. I realize I have been forgetting to show my belly, so I'm going to start with that. I'm actually wearing a romper today, so I don't know how much you're going to be able to see it, but there it is, very, very big. I set Poa up with her Peppa Pig so that I could do this, but I'm hearing her and I feel like she's going to come out in a second. Anyway, this week has been both good and bad. Emotionally, I'm feeling so much better this half of the week. The beginning half of the week was pretty hard communication-wise. I keep talking about Mercury retrograde. I might just be blaming that. But actually, a lot of people I've been speaking to have been really having a hard time the past few weeks. So it's not just me, it's just happening to a bunch of people. But now I feel amazing. This half of the week, I'm feeling so great. Ready to conquer the world. No, I'm ready to get sorted for Australia because we leave our home here on Sunday the 13th. And we'll be going into 2 weeks of quarantine. And there's just so many things we need to organize. Every child needs an iPad, so I've got to go and do that because in case I want to watch different things, it's going to be 2 weeks. So all of our media rules are going to go out the window, although I am going to try and keep up with a little bit of homeschool in quarantine if I can. We're really excited to get to Australia. Not excited for the weather. That's a bit of a shambles, but that's okay. Usually we prefer to do like summer in America, summer in Australia, but it didn't work out that way this year because we've been in Wales for so long. But now that Wales is out of the equation, I think if we can get into kind of a routine where we do the first 3 months in Australia, then come here, and then we can go back there, and then we can come here, we're going to figure it out. So yeah, feeling really good. Body-wise, I'm feeling much better, and in terms of not being so sluggish. Here's the deal. I cleaned up my food this week. So for the last 4 days, I've been eating super healthy. I have one thing of bread in the morning, avocado toast. I have avocado toast with a green juice. Now, how I cleaned that meal up was that it used to be avocado toast, a muffin, or banana bread and a green juice. So now I've cut out the muffin. For lunch, I used to have like a big burger and fries. None of that's happening. I'm making these massive salads. So I'm making, I will get one of those really big tubs of spinach. I'll use half of that, dump a really nice miso dressing on top, garlic dip, some Mary's Gone crackers, guacamole, and that is my meal. Sometimes I'll put some baked tofu or whatever on top to make it even heartier. But I've been really trying to stick with big, healthy, nutrient-dense, plant-based foods. And plant-based is vegan, but I mean actual plants, not a lot of the breads, a lot of the grains I was having, a lot of the sort of fake meats I was consuming. And it's just that I was feeling a bit sluggish. I had reached, in the middle of the week, I had sort of reached almost my end weight, my typical end weight. I usually finish my pregnancies around 145 pounds. I was like almost 141 pounds earlier this week. And I was like, I think it's because there's a correlation between how I've been feeling and the crappiness of the food that I've been consuming, and just not thinking about it and not thinking about, all right, let's just clean this up. So this week I was like, all right, halfway through the week, I thought, you know what? I'm going to just try eating a little more consciously in terms of how clean the food is. And I feel amazing. And I don't feel like I'm missing out, and I'm not craving the big heavy foods that I have been having the whole rest of my pregnancy. I've been drinking a lot of kombucha. and feeling really good about this switch up. So I hope that I can keep it up throughout the rest of my pregnancy. Obviously, now and then I'll have, a burger or something to kind of fill me up. But I'm also prepping myself for the postpartum period, the first 40 days. I love that book. It talks about really eating nourishing foods. And I oftentimes have just pigged out once the baby comes. And I don't want to do that this time because I think it'll help me just have that kind of feeling in my body where I'm restoring and replenishing everything that I'm giving out through my breast milk. And I have been breastfeeding. I think I worked it out the other day, like 2,600 and whatever days straight in a row without break. And I just want to be really good to my body. And that still means having treats and all that sort of stuff. But the main basis of what I'm eating, I want it to be healthy. I've been so enjoying salads and smoothies. It's just been making me feel really good. And I still get to have my really yummy avocado toast that I crave in the mornings. And yeah, so I'm just feeling a lot better and drinking more water and just being much more attuned into what my body needs and what is going to serve me. So that has been a big portion of my week this week that I've focused on. And it feels great. I mentioned in my blog, I did my blog like 4 days ago, and then now I'm doing my video. So my blog, I was still probably in the headspace of everything's really challenging this week. But I'm feeling so good now. I've moved through a lot of my kind of stuck feelings. I also sat down and did some videos for The Well, which is Love Well. So if any of you guys ever saw TED Talks back in the day, it was where I would talk about various topics randomly, kind of deep dive into them. I'm doing that again. So I'm basically picking up TED Talks again, but it's now been rebranded, I guess, as The Well for Love Well. And our like little slogan over there is, if you're doing it with love, you're doing it well. So this is where the idea of The Well came from. Ultimately, we'll have a podcast, but right now it's these videos where I talk about a random subject or I interview someone. And this week I've been shooting a lot of them, and I shot one with Daniel Ahern, who heads up my very first wellness platform that I ever had, and I started it with Phoebe Tonkin, my girlfriend, who's also an actress and a fabulous human being. We did this thing called Your Zen Life, and that's how Your Zen Mama, the sister company, it's not really a company, it's the sister platform, was born after I had kids. And I sort of neglected Your Zen Life because I was like, well, now I'm trying to be Zen, but with parenting. So Your Zen Mama blossomed from there. So Zen Life, I gave over to this beautiful person called Daniel Ahern. His voice, his energy, when I'm around him, I just feel calm. He looks me in the eyes. He's talking to me like he's talking to my soul. He's one of those people that he's a therapist and a meditation teacher. He's just done so much work on himself that all of that it transcends. And he's just a healing person. He's just amazing. So I have interviewed him twice for The Well this week. The first time we talked about sort of trauma and diving into childhood trauma, taking a look at that. When things feel hard, what is it about your childhood trauma that's triggering you? And I really loved that. I talked about a few different kinds of therapies, one called IPF, which is really interesting. So I'm just putting this out there. If you're feeling like you're sort of stuck, you should go and look at his videos, Daniel's videos, and he's got a website too called, it's www.pthwrk, which is path work, but without the two, without the A and without the O, in path and work, .com. And he's just such an inspirational person. Just being around him lifted my spirits, and he just like gets into it. He started asking me questions about experiences I've had in my life and my childhood, and he was like, oh, I wonder what was coming up for you this week. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it was a subconscious memory from my childhood. And he's just a beautiful individual and sort of unpacked some things for me this week. And I just love him. So I want to put that out there because he was so helpful to me. And I know that these videos, when they're released, everyone's going to love them. So there's that one on childhood trauma and therapy, and the reason why therapy is so beneficial and shouldn't be a taboo thing. And then the other one we talked about was when you're feeling low and you feel stuck, and it's that downward spiral of feeling icky, and then you start to help yourself feel better, and then you find something else that feels yucky, and it's just this like horrible cycle that feels like you can't get out of it. And we talked about what to do when you find yourself in that situation. And again, he's the guru. I love him so much. And you can follow him. He's the Your Zen Life guy. He's our guy that runs it now. I'm still a part of it. But he's the main person. He's the person posting. It's his ideas, because he really is Zen Life. I was like, you really are. He really epitomizes the idea of like living your best life, I think. And so I find him so inspirational. He's at Love Your Zen Life on Instagram. And we don't have a blog, we don't have a website right now. It's just the social media platform. And at some point we're going to launch an app that's in the works. So yeah, that was like, this week for me has been about work and really paying attention to various aspects of myself outside of just being a mother. And we talk often about how do you find the woman behind the mother again? Because when you become a mother, you, in many ways, your identity sort of shifts and you pivot into, well, now I'm mother and now I'm this person for these little people. But still behind that, we have dreams and desires and wants and all the things. So this week I dedicated it to focusing back on what are my dreams, what are my desires. I did practice a calling in, visualization, manifesting, prayer, whatever you want to call it. I did one of those practices this week as well. So not only did I got a babysitter for 20 hours this week, and she came Tuesday to Friday for 5 hours a day. And I sat here in the house. She was upstairs with the kids or in the pool with the kids. And I sat in this room and I did work on Love Well. I did work on Your Zen Mama. I did some Your Zen Life work. I filmed some videos. I then did this really beautiful practice where I listened to the words of Neil Goddard, who's this kind of spiritual philosopher teacher. He's dead now. He was very prolific in the 40s, 50s, 60s, talking about like cooling in your reality. And I listened to his words and I practiced what he talks about. Hand over heart, get into a meditative state, and really feel the feeling of being in your dream. Like, what is your dream? Do you want to open up your own business? Do you want to have a bunch of kids? Do you want to be barefoot and pregnant and live, in Australia? Whatever it is, like, really imagine yourself in that reality. How do you feel? And I found myself just like smiling. And then that prompted me to spend an hour and a half writing out all my goals, all my dreams, as if they've already happened. I have this, we are living here, our children are this, blah, blah, blah. And it was so beautiful and therapeutic. And whether or not you believe in manifesting, even just goal setting helps to set you on the path of putting one foot in front of each other, always heading towards your desired outcome or your desired life. And so I really loved it. It kind of organized all my thoughts, my dreams, and my hopes. And I really recommend you guys do it. Okay, I'm trying to speed up because we've just run out of time. But I love you guys. Keep going. You're doing great. And I will see you next week for another episode of Teresa's Pregnancy Vlogs. 29 weeks next week. All right. Mwah. Lots of love. Bye.